We have a heartbreaking story coming out of Nigeria to report on today. The AP says that Boko Haram suicide bombers blew themselves up in the main market in Nigeria's northeastern city of Yola, killing 29 people and themselves. So that's a huge number, man. Another 38 victims, some with serious injuries, are being treated in the local hospitals there. Now, the story gets even more insane because listen to this. Quote, 2 hours earlier, 8 soldiers were killed by a suicide car bomb at a checkpoint outside a military barracks in Maiduguri, the biggest city in the Northeast. So that's 2 terror attacks within 2 hours. The AP says, quote, daily attacks started after the new president, Muhammadu Buhari, declared at his inauguration on May 29th that he is moving the command center for the war from Abuja, the capital of central Nigeria, to Maiduguri. Buhari was in neighboring Chad on Thursday, urging more support for the multinational force in which battle-hardened Chadian troops have played a leading role. So between Nigeria's command center moving to the heart of Boko Haram territory and the Chadian troops helping to weaken Boko Haram, along with the Nigerian troops, now in response to that, they're saying, fuck this, balls to the wall, they're waging an all-out offensive, and of course they're killing civilians. Now, for those of you who don't know, let me give you some more background information on Boko Haram. They're a Sunni Islamic fundamentalist terror group or a Wahhabi jihadist group, and their name stands for Western education is sin. It's amazing when people like parade their ignorance. They're like, we don't think, we don't like education. Fuck that. We don't want to learn. Expand our horizons. So basically, these guys are religious dingbats, and they also hail from northern Nigeria, which is the incredibly poor half of Nigeria, where 60% of the population lives on less than $1 a day. So think about it, man. You have a really, really impoverished people, plus holy books. Doesn't go well. That's not a nice mix. Now, people, of course, are going to argue till the end of time which one of those things contributes more to the extremism. Is it the poverty or is it the religion? Which one comes first? Is it chicken or the egg? Are they both equal influences? Is it like a 70%, 30% thing? I'll leave that up to you guys. I think I've weighed in enough on that overall. It's fucking half the time I feel like on Secular Talk we weigh in on just that issue. So we have some more information here. They say, quote, Boko Haram killed more than 13,000 civilians between 2009 and 2015, including around 10,000 in 2014 alone, in attacks occurring mainly in northeast Nigeria. 1.5 million people have been forced to leave their homes as a result of Boko Haram violence. Now think about this for a second. These guys are so thoroughly brainwashed that many of them killed their parents. We covered the Vice story recently. It was in a Vice documentary where they were, looking for, where they were in Nigeria and they were documenting the back and forth and the war that's going on there. And people were telling stories about how, these guys butchered their parents. When I read something like that, man, my takeaway is, for that specific atrocity, only religion can convince somebody that that's the moral thing to do. Because think about how warped that is and how far away from what feels natural that is. The idea that the people who essentially gave you life, even if, let's say, you don't get along with them, or they're bad people, the idea that, like, you're going to kill them, you're going to kill your parents. Only dogmatic, hardline religious thinking can convince somebody that, no, it is in fact the moral thing to do that. It's really scary. And I want to give you some more here in terms of what I think is the best way to address this issue. So, in my opinion, I think the solution is that the UN should basically give help and give aid to the Nigerian government, for example, who have been fighting Boko Haram, and just give them the ability, the means to protect themselves, and also an international coalition should step up and defeat these guys. Very similar to what, there's an international coalition now going after ISIS, and I think that makes perfect sense. And here's the thing, man. People wrongly think that if they listen to the show, a lot of people get the misperception that I'm some sort of isolationist. I'm not an isolationist. I'm a non-interventionist, and there is a difference. So what that means is I'm of the belief that the United States should only use military force to defend our own country. And I think that's a standard that most countries should abide by. But that doesn't mean that I don't think somebody should step up in the region in Nigeria and fight Boko Haram and attempt to defeat them. That doesn't mean I don't think that they shouldn't fight al-Shabaab and try to defeat them in Somalia. That doesn't mean that I don't think people should step up and fight ISIS. In fact, I'm totally on board with defeating these people militarily, but I think we've had our run. We've been involved in it for well over a decade, and empirically, we've only made the problem worse, and we haven't been very targeted in our killings, and we've added, unfortunately, we've increased the popularity of the arguments that jihadists make because we've killed so many aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, you name it. So it's not that I don't want anybody to fight these people. I do want people to fight them. I just don't want to lead the fight, and I want other people to do it because, let's face it, Boko Haram is not in Idaho, okay? They're not about to, attack Cleveland. They're not about to attack Wyoming. So with that being the case, yes, I do think it's incumbent upon the governments in the region, the people in the region, to step up and fight those battles on their own. Like I said, no problem with the UN stepping in, no problem with an international coalition stepping in, no problem with all of them working together, even no problem if we have to give them a bunch of aid. Okay, no problem. Go to the people you know you could trust, give them aid. But I just don't think, as everybody knows, that our role should be the main role because we've fucked up virtually everything where we've led the way militarily. But either way, look, the main takeaway, let's not forget the bigger picture here and the main takeaway here, which is that Boko Haram, al-Shabaab also you could say, al-Nusra, ISIS, these are all groups that are the epitome of evil and backwards Islamic ideology and fundamentalism, and they need to be defeated, and it's just a matter of how you do that is where the disagreement comes in.